Hello, hello. The stream is officially live. Happy Thursday. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you spent some time listening to the record that I put out last week. I'm just checking my phone to make sure that I am, in fact, live. Looks like I am. I'm gonna wait for people to show up a little bit, but I wanted to do a second stream because my stream last week was pretty late. I decided to do a little listening party at midnight when my album came out. So I know a lot of people couldn't make it, and, you know, sleepy hours. So it was a bit short. So I thought it might be cool to talk a little bit more about the songs, and also now that people have had some time to let it sink in, had some time to listen to it, had their own personal experiences with it, I kind of want to hear what you guys have to say too. So hello, Savag. Wait, did I say it right? Yes, I think so. Hello. Welcome. I'm also probably going to play the music underneath me. So let me know. I'm going to start playing it now. Let me know if it's too loud between my voice and the music. Thought it would be good to have it underneath so I can, I don't know, just like remember the lyrics, remember the headspace I was in a little bit better. Hello. Hey, John Fisher. Welcome to the chat. How's your Thursdays going, everyone? Oh, we're just getting some merch to display behind me. Here it is. Here she is. The record in all its glory. Hi, Sapphire Solstice. Welcome. What? Oh. I don't know where to put this. Here's a shirt. Look at that. Very nice. I don't know where to put this. Well, I tried. Oh, you did a Mai Tai class. Very cool. Waiting for Monday. You're waiting for Monday. No one says that. Unless, I guess, you work on the weekends. Then that would make sense. Yeah, I'm waiting for tomorrow. It's been quite the grind. It's really interesting to be like now in this side of things. Now officially with my album out. It's like soon I'll be able to sort of have maybe a clearer head to work on new music again. It's gonna be like a foreign experience for me. You have an important thing to do on Monday. Okay. Well, good luck. Oh. I believe it'll be great. Let's do some manifesting. I believe it'll be great for you. We all could use a little bit more great in our lives. I'm wishing you the best, Hank. We got some people in here. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the record now that it's out. I hope, post-album burnout is real. It's true. I mean, I don't want to be, like, negative or anything. It's a sign of, just how much I put into this thing. So, it's more of just a reflection of how much energy I expended this past year. And, yeah, I'm feeling it. I mean, I think anyone that's like that makes music, puts music out, goes on tour, knows that there's always like that inevitable dip right after the tour, right after the album, because it's like you're running on adrenaline for so long, and your body's just officially ready to collapse. So yeah, I would say I'm not there yet, because I have one more week that I need to prepare for the album release, which I'm very excited for. That's going to be on Thursday next week, if anyone's in town. Yes. Yeah, it is to highlight how much energy and passion you put into it. I agree. Sometimes it's just inevitable. But yeah, let me know what you think about the new record. It's out. It's now yours. I would say it's no longer mine even. It was once mine, and now it is officially yours to hold, maybe, to have your own experiences with, listen on the train, in the car. I definitely have like stories and feelings that go along with each song that are personal to me, but I like that people can kind of have their own interpretations and make their own connections with the music that might not even have anything to do with what I was intentionally putting into it. So that's always a cool thing. And I think I'm already seeing that. I think that there's definitely this duality within the album of, I mean, if you pay attention to the lyrics, if you read the lyrics, they're pretty dark. But on a sonic level, it's pretty light. People might say, uplifting, dreamy, summery. So I noticed a lot of people are just getting that kind of vibe with it. Like, oh, this is great for driving in the car and like on a nice summer day. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Because there's definitely, you can dig deeper and find some real darkness there too. So it's kind of just whatever you decide to focus on, I guess. Thank you, John. Thank you. Cracking tunes. Thank you. So I could start talking about the first track, I guess. Maybe I could go back to it. Yeah, so the first track on the album, Eternal, I wouldn't say it's the first song I wrote for the record. I actually wrote it closer to the end of the writing process. I was like 3/4 of the way done. And I think I was getting very deep into sort of that like indie dream pop sound, more of like a classic indie rock sound. So I had a lot of tracks kind of lined up on the record that were in that territory. But I felt like there was like an aspect of like that signature Vitesse sound that wasn't making itself clear enough in the record. So like, I didn't want to force it. I was like, I wanted to make a song like this. I wanted to add a song like this on the record. But I have a really hard time when I'm approaching music where like, if I tell myself I'm going to write something, typically that's not what ends up coming out. I like have a concept or something, and then I'll end up writing a song that's drastically different. But if I hold that intention long enough and kind of keep it in the back of my head, eventually over time, it'll happen. I just have to let it happen on its own. So with Eternal, that's kind of what it was. I knew I needed a song like this to really fill out the record in the way that just felt like it honored it properly. Thank you, Ethan. And so one day I was just kind of sitting there. I might have been working on another song, and then this song kind of emerged out of that song. That's how a lot of my songs get started, actually. And so yeah, Savag is asking if those synth pads are from, well, Us Ephemeral. So I actually really wanted to tie this record in with the last record in some way. I feel like I wanted to sort of like bridge the gap between those universes, and so I did want to sort of make an homage to Us Ephemeral, the song. And so I already kind of had a beat going, and I had like a chord progression going. And once I had the chord progression going, I was like, okay, this is that song I was trying to add to the record. I can feel it. And I was immediately like, I want to grab some stuff from Us Ephemeral. So I use the same synth pads that are in Us Ephemeral, and then also wanted to like incorporate some of the same samples. So if you listen closely, there's like the Go 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 sample. I have that in this as well. So in my mind, it was kind of like the second edition of Us Ephemeral, the song. Sort of like showcasing it in a new light and extending on that universe. So once I had the song written, then I was like, this feels like it needs to be the opener for the record. It just has sort of like, it really like opens the door to this universe that I wanted to create. And also just like on a sonic level, I wanted this to be a dream pop record and like indie rock dream pop record, but I still really wanted to keep it within that electronic realm, that electronic space, and sort of frame the indie rock sound within the electronic space. So it just felt like a perfect opener, and I really wanted it to bridge the gap between the two albums. And so that's kind of what came out. Yes. Cool, yeah. Yeah, I think I do that a lot with my music. I'm noticing now that I have like more songs, is that I really do like alluding to previous pieces of work, and like I don't ever like the idea of abandoning a concept. I think that whatever I make is a piece of me in some way, and so that's never gonna like completely go away. So when I move forward with my creative projects, sometimes I just want to like tap back to that and sort of extend on the story. So yeah, that's Eternal. I turned it down because I get distracted by my own music. Yeah, so this song is Spill. This song is my, I guess, I don't want to say attempt. It's just like it's like my first dabble with like more of like a more notable, potent shoegaze sound. Like a more obvious shoegaze sound. So this one was also built off of a previous song. Like so many of my songs I make kind of accidentally, like while I'm working on another song, I'll just like hear a chord progression, or like I'll be messing around with the drums, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I get a different idea, and then it kind of just emerges from that. So that's, I couldn't tell you what I was working on before. I think it was actually like an old song that I spent like months and months on that I just could not figure out. And then, yeah, it turned into something completely different, which is this. This song is a very emotional song for me, as pretty much all of my songs are. And yeah, just kind of like, it's more like looking retrospectively at the past year and just like having drama and like having going through a lot with the people you care about, and like it's definitely like a song about loyalty, and it's a song about like seeing someone like maybe clinging to the past too much and like wanting to turn them towards the future and kind of like let them see that there's a whole new like world of abundance and greatness and all these things that lie ahead if they're able to just like turn themselves in that direction. So I would say that's like the gist of it. There's there's a lot more to it, but I would say that's the gist of it. And yeah, that like that's on the lyrical side of things. Sonically, I don't really know what I have to. It's like, it's crazy because I feel like so many of these songs were written in like such a, just like I was just deep in tunnel vision, and I almost like can't remember like the process of making it in many ways. Yeah, this is a time lapse of my life for sure. I would say it's very much documenting month by month sort of like what I'm going through. And that's what I've been kind of trying to communicate online. It's very hard on social media to like properly communicate things in a sincere way. But yeah, I mean, these are journal entries more than anything. So that's why it's kind of an interesting thing to like put this out and just be like, this is just me honestly communicating with the world, and that's it. Like, that's the gist of it. There's nothing more, nothing less. It's just me kind of just trying to be as honest as possible and like put that out into the world. And then it's kind of funny when you do that though, because inevitably you have people that listen to it and don't know the context of it. And it's interesting just like having critics, even, because I'm like, how can you necessarily critique my journal entries? It's just how I'm feeling. I can understand on like a production side of things if you want to critique it in that way, but no, I mean, that's just all I was really aiming for with this, was just like honest catharsis and giving that to myself, and just like tapping back to like the purity of what art is all about, which should just be processing what you're feeling, what you're holding, and then letting it go. So that was just what this album is, just a full exercise in doing that, and like trying to maybe have that translate as well as possible for the people listening. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you. Oh, yay. I'm glad you like Eternal. That's another cool thing too, because I feel like I haven't really had like a consensus on anyone's favorite song. It's like all over the place. So that makes me really happy, because I feel like people are all enjoying the record in their own way, which is very nice. Anyway. Oh, you hear the OB6, yeah. Okay, so I skipped this infinite as I was talking. I can go back to it, but I want to make sure the volume's low enough for me to do that. And yeah, ask me questions too, because that'll help me jog my memory of what I should talk about. Okay, this Infinite. This Infinite, I would say, I mean, it is a title track of the record. This was really like the turning point because I was working on a different record that sounded very different. And I'm still going to be working on it after this, by the way. I was working on a different record and I went upstate to this rave in the woods. New subscriber, yay. I went to this rave in the woods that I go to every year. I had a pretty bad time this time around because I think I was harboring a lot of emotions that I hadn't really processed throughout the year. And I was kind of having a panic attack in the woods. I just did not feel safe or grounded, and like I couldn't find an ounce of comfort no matter how much my friends tried. I was just having full-on panic attack. So I got through it, and I kind of processed some things out there, and I got home and half this song was actually written already. And so I went back to this song, and it was really interesting because I felt like the lyrics that I had written down at that point were like communicating to me like the same. It was almost like it knew what was going to happen when I went upstate. Yeah, I'm getting a little woo-woo, but it felt like it was kind of talking to me. And so I started finishing the song, and like what emerged from the song was just, it's sort of like this mantra, if anything, of just like, you know the saying like the only way out is through. It's kind of that. I agree. Time is not linear. I agree. But yeah, so it kind of is, the song is all about that mantra of like the only way out is through, and to just kind of like fall under the fear and just let yourself kind of like submerge into it, and then you'll get out on the other side. And it's like there's a lot behind this song. It's just kind of like the idea of like infinite wisdom, and how like the more you kind of ground yourself, the more you let yourself feel what you're feeling, you can kind of tap into this like infinite state of wisdom, and like you possess all the answers for yourself. And I would say that's the gist of it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my songs are kind of like mantras in that way, just kind of helping me speak through, you know, whatever I'm trying to process. And so that was a song that came out. And then from there, I started realizing that I kind of had a whole new album that was emerging. And so, you know, another sort of like weird thing to me in many ways, is that I don't really feel like I had much control over this record. I felt like it was kind of just like expressing its need to make itself known in this world and like exist in this world. And I was just sort of like the conduit for that. So, because I was writing an entirely different record. So it was like, once this song was done, I had like another song or two, and then all of a sudden like this album decided to be born, and then I started working on more songs kind of in that vein. So, but yeah, this Infinite was the start of that. Anyway, the next song on the record is Oh shit. Ooh, that was loud. I'm sorry if I killed your ears just now. Sorry. I gotta turn it down. Okay. My bad. That's so I can talk over it. So I did write all these songs. Just so you know. I don't know what you mean by help on any other songs. George Albright, you're asking? Might need to clarify. Yeah, so I wrote all of these. I did do a collab with Pearly Drops on the record. I did write Careless, but then I had Jack Tatum from Wild Nothing work with me on like the outro part and the just like polishing the production elements, and he did a lot of like re-recording of the instrumentals. Oh yeah, no, he did not help me. No, this is very much from me. This is spoken from my voice. Yes. Yeah, so this album was me, and then I had co-production with Jack Tatum on one song, and then co-production with Pearly Drops on one song. That's it. So Bliss Beat, okay, so this song is about, it's kind of a setting. It's like about walking to the train, which I do on the reg. I have about a mile walk to the train every day to go to work. So normally during that time, I'm either just like not listening to music and spacing out, or I'm listening to music and spacing out. And it's kind of just a time where you could say like I'm somewhat dissociating. I'm somewhat like just entering a new headspace and just having this moment to myself where I'm like just free from the bullshit in the world. And so this song's kind of about that. It's kind of a song that's it's more or less like a self-critique in certain ways too. Because I think often when I'm like struggling with my emotions and like I was talking about before, like not wanting to feel or process what I'm feeling, I tend to sort of dissociate. I tend to space out, be lost in my daydreams, and that becomes my safe space. For better, for worse. Sometimes for better, other times, it might be important to process those emotions. But so the song's called Bliss Beat because it's like, it's just those times where you're kind of up in the clouds and nothing can bother you. Everything's okay. Even maybe when things aren't, for a moment they are, because you're just choosing to be out in space. And walking to work with my headphones on is kind of that moment in time where I can do that. So that's what inspired this song. And that's actually like, I would say also what inspired the record in certain ways too, because I took some time off from making much music. Not this past year, but the year before. I wasn't making a whole lot. I was having a bit of writer's block. But I was listening to a lot of music, and my main time to do that was on my commute to work. And I started listening to a lot of guitar-based music again. And I was listening to a lot of older stuff that kind of brought me back into this, state of nostalgia when I was younger in college, and like things just felt a lot more simple and a lot more certain and a lot more warm and textured. And I mean, I'm definitely romanticizing that time, but that's kind of how it felt. And then I was also listening to more modern artists that were more guitar based, like Baratalia and stuff sort of in that vein. And so during that time, I think that's what also contributed to me kind of shifting my sound in that direction for this album. Because there's more of this like human quality that I think I was really, really craving, especially like during a time of isolation. And so, so the same thing that inspired Bliss Beat is a similar thing that inspired this record overall, is just kind of those long walks where I was consuming a lot of music, a lot of guitar-based music, and a lot of music that was also kind of rough around the edges too, where it wasn't so much about like this glossy production or like, it wasn't like this ego-driven, let me show you all my production tricks, which is like something I do love, but I needed a break from it. And I also needed a break from it for myself with songwriting. And so this album is definitely not about me showcasing my production tricks at all. This album is so much more about showcasing how I can tap more into an honest space within myself. I think that's really, really important. Like before you ever like focus on honing in on all of the production skills you can get, I think honing in on how you can be the most authentic and the most honest and true in your art is at the core of music and art and like what makes it special and what that sets that apart from everything else. And so this album was very much focused on that. It was just more like I wasn't going to spend months on end fine-tuning things. I was just like, I left a lot of things more jagged around the edges, and the stuff I was listening to during that time was inspired me to do that. Like it gave me the permission to do that. And also there's an artist, Nourished by Time, who's a friend of mine, and I was actually talking to him pretty close to the time this album started, and I did like a little interview with him actually that never came out, and I do want to post it at some point. I was doing some interviews through my label, and there's a few things I never posted, but it's kind of like right before he really blew up, because he's gotten really big this past year. But he was just talking to me about his songwriting process and how he has this like, he always keeps this note on his wall in his studio that just says, don't think. And that's very much his process. It's like super stream of consciousness, and it's all about just letting the emotions flow out of you and not really going into that with judgment or like stopping that flow from happening. And so I really took that to heart. And when I approached this record, I kind of was like channeling that mentality. And I was like, what would Marcus do? Okay. And so, he's a big inspiration for just the way I went about writing this record as well. So that was Bliss Beat. Also, just like on a sonic level, the past two songs, so like this Infinite and Bliss Beat, they're definitely more inspired by like some classic dream pop sounds. So like The Sundays is a big one, and My Bloody Valentine, of course, is always like a big one for me. So I was tapping into that a bit. Oh, and then also just like the vocal cadence on Bliss Beat. I was trying something new. I was trying something a little bit more like, I was trying to break up the almost like muscle memory my brain gets in sometimes when it comes to vocal cadence. And so I was listening to like Life Without Buildings and trying to channel that a little bit with just the way I was styling the rhythm within the vocal delivery. So that's another influence there for sure. Okay. Next one, Realize. You might have had some time with this one because I put it out as a single a while back. I'm going to lower the volume first. So the funny thing about Realize is that I actually wrote this song first. But I wrote it around the time I wrote my drum and bass track, Ricochet. I wrote it like right around that time, which is kind of hilarious because they are such starkly different sounding songs. It almost sounds like it's not coming from the same artist, at least in my perspective. But it kind of is channeling a similar, it's all coming from a similar place. While they sound so drastically different, they're all coming from a similar emotional place. Yeah, I've talked about this song a little bit in the past since I released it as a single, but this song was very much like Don't Think. This is a very Don't Think song. This was just like, I'm gonna write a short and sweet little ditty. That's not a good word to say. A short and sweet little tune. And this is kind of just what came out. Like, it was a very easy melody line that just kind of flowed out of me, like it had always been there. This song sounds very sweet and sounds very summery. And I think a lot of people feel that way when they're listening to the song. From what I've heard, it's like, oh, I just love to roll down my windows and listen to this track. But it's actually the lyrics. I always say this is like my diss track on the record. It's very much like a fuck you song to just the narcissists of the world who try to bring us all down. Since I entered the music industry, since I moved to New York and like kind of entered the music industry, those types of personality types run rampant, I will say. And I wasn't really able to see the red flags early on, and it led to a lot of, for lack of a better word, just like abuse. It was just a lot of situations where like I was naive and people like to take advantage of that and, you know, maybe use like my empathy or use my my optimism or like my desire to succeed and grow. Like all of those things were kind of used against me for a long time. I've talked about this a lot actually, because it's just like, it was the reason I quit music for a very long time. It's a struggle as a woman, especially. And this all started even before like the Me Too movement and all of that even started. So like people weren't watching themselves as much either. Yeah, it's a ruthless industry. And so now I'm like in a different place for sure. I kind of know my boundaries now and like know what to look out for. But it makes me upset that like in this society, a lot of times those are the types of people that get rewarded. So this song is actually kind of a fuck you to all that. And it's saying like, you know, eat the stars to radiate, metabolize your vanity, steal the sky to medicate. It's like you can do all these things to try to fill this void. You can try to like take in all these external things, these accolades, and try to fill this void within you and to make you feel special and whole, but it'll never actually do that. And And so it's just saying like eventually you're going to have to realize that none of this will ever fix you. And it's kind of just like I'll be on the other end stronger by like actually taking the time to at least try to be a better person. And so yeah, it's my diss track in that sense. But if you want to like, if you want to see it as like this cute little summary song, feel free. But I like that juxtaposition because it makes it that much more snarky to me. Okay. Next song. You might have heard this one a bit before the album came out too. Way I Love. This song I had in my folders actually like the bare bones of this song for a while too, and I never thought I was gonna put it out. I never thought I was gonna put this one out. It was just kind of like, it's so poppy, it's so cute. I never really thought it would see the light of day, but then once I started working on a dream pop record, all of a sudden it fit. It was there. It was ready for me. So, and then once I like put the lyrics on and everything, it really started to like take on a new life and actually holds a lot of significance for me and a lot of meaning for me. Yeah, sometimes it just takes some time with the lyrics for it to really become important for you and actually truly mean something special. Yeah, this song is another one where I'm kind of just like looking back more retrospectively at the past few years, and it's kind of it's a story of just not really knowing your boundaries and kind of like wearing your heart in your sleeve and like loving very deeply and just like really wanting the best for the people around you, especially like in friendships and stuff, just like really going into it with good intentions, and then that kind of not being reciprocated. So that is that's basically the gist of this song. It's kind of just like yeah, don't let her fall in fire, her heart is fit for the ember. It's very emo actually. The lyrics are very emo. If you read my lyrics, it's like pretty dark, but that's how I was feeling, and I like how it kind of sounds like this cute little love song. Like if you're not really listening deeply to it, it just sounds like I'm confessing my love or something, and it's like, no, actually it's confessing that I don't know how to love myself as much as I give my love to other people. So that's that one for you. It's nice that I can talk about this in a more detached way now. If I maybe if you caught me talking about this 6 months ago, I might be a little more of a tearjerker, but yeah. And that's the beauty of art is, it allows you to process it and get it out of your system a little bit. Like the art itself is kind of a cry sesh. And, I will say, like, my rule of thumb now, I have a rule of thumb, and especially for this record, I had a rule of thumb. Like, if I didn't cry while making every song, it wasn't being honest enough. So that was definitely part of the process. Yeah, so it's interesting that you say Joy Division. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of like The Cure, Joy Division. What's another one? Yeah, it's so interesting because I wasn't even thinking of those bands as references. I had a moment in time where like that was my shit for sure. Oh yeah, New Order was another one that I've gotten. Yeah. And yeah, like I've gotten comments that like I was obviously inspired by them and their guitar licks and like obviously ripping from them. I've gotten comments like that and I'm like, I literally wasn't thinking about that for a second, but I'm sure it lives inside of me somewhere. So I'm sure like it came out because of that era in my life where I did listen to them a lot. But like, yeah, it's funny that people can have so much certainty about like what you're being influenced by when you're writing your music, and they can be so far off. Because I would say out of anything, like that stuff was probably more inspired by like more modern indie rock bands, because that really was like what I grew up in as a musician, was like bands like Beach Fossils and Wild Nothing and all of that. And so I would say, yeah, they're super influenced by those bands. So by default, you know, it kind of just has a way of coming through. But to say that I was obviously ripping them is a bit of a stretch. Oh, sorry to make you cry, Hank. I hope it was a therapeutic cry, though. It does make me a little bit like happy to know that people cry to my music, because as long as it's a therapeutic cry, that's kind of, to me, that's like the point of my music, is being able to just get that stuff out, get that, clear the system. Okay. Speaking of Wild Nothing, the next track on the record, Careless, was co-produced by Jack Tatum of Wild Nothing. I put it out as a single not too long ago, but I can definitely talk about it more again. This song is also another really dark song on a lyrical level. Fuck, I did it again. Sorry if I blew out your ears. So, okay, that's better. Aw, thanks, Pedro. So Careless. I probably spend the most time on this song out of any of the songs on the album. I was really in the weeds with this one. Like, I had this song written. The song that you're hearing, I had this all written up until the intro. But I really just wanted to take it into a more like elevated dream pop state. And I felt like the only way I could truly honor that was like getting more of like a classic indie artist on this track. So then I hit up Jack and I sent him kind of like what I had going, and he was like, oh yeah, this has definitely a lot of potential. And then he came back and like kind of re-recorded some things, and then I didn't even have real vocals on it. I did do a stream after the song came out where I played the demo version with my scratch vocals. I won't do that again, sorry. But yeah, they were like pretty horrendous. I mean, it was just kind of like me oohing and awing. But then I actually wrote the real vocals on top, and this song's interesting. It has that juxtaposition between like the way it sounds and feels sonically versus the lyrical content, I guess you could say, like, because the lyrics are extremely heavy, and like the song is all about those days where you're lying in bed, and like if you deal with chronic depression like I have throughout my life, that happens, and so it's just about those times where you're kind of just like lying there staring at the ceiling and just getting sucked further and further in, and like knowing what's good for you, like knowing what would better you, but like just rejecting all of it. It just feeling like kind of like it's hopeless. And so yeah, I call this song like my love letter to depression, because it's kind of like at a certain point when you've been dealing with something like that your whole life, it becomes like a friend to you almost. It just becomes this familiar space to be in, to exist in. And so it sounds kind of like a love song on the surface again, but it's like I thought there was like almost humor in the fact that like I'm singing it to depression, like it sounds like, oh, I love this place, I love this state I'm in, and it's like it sounds so blissful, but it's like this is depression, you know, like there's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek aspect to it that I think is cool. And like because I think something about dream pop that maybe I don't like so much is it might be too nail on the head at times with the lyrics and with the sonics. It's like everything about it is blissful. And so I like kind of having that duality where it's like there's some layers to it, and you can take it in whichever direction you choose. It's kind of on the listener to decide, I guess. Singing to the Grim Reaper. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. By the way, I don't mind questions. I do not mind questions if you have anything you'd like to ask me. I hope I'm going in order. I think I am. The next song on the record is called Palisade, and I've been saying that like this song was one of my favorites to write because it just was a really fluid song. Like it just very easily came out of me. I really didn't have to think much about it. It was just very effortless in that process, and it really said everything I needed to say in that moment. Very short and sweet, and like on a sonic level as well. Like my hope for this record was that I was gonna like be able to tap into kind of like this merging between the orbital sound that I love so much and then like the indie rock sound that I love so much, and try to bridge the gap between those spaces a bit more. And this song I feel like captures that in the best way. So I will play it as I'm talking. I would say the beginning is kind of inspired by like beach fossils, just those cute little noodly guitars on top of each other. And yeah, I didn't have the chorus for a second. I just had this cute little riff that was just sitting there on the track listing, and then I went back to it and then wrote the chorus. This song's kind of it's very much about seeing the world dissolving in front of you, seeing a lot of destruction, and on like every level, and seeing that we're all kind of going through a similar trauma altogether by having to witness that, and like something where like there's something that hits you when you're all kind of going through this collective trauma together, where you can actually gain a stronger connection with the people around you. So yeah, I mean, it's sort of about like finding a deeper connection with people around you amidst the ruins of it all. Yeah, the palisade of her skin begins to fade, ripping down the walls I made. And that was definitely a reflection on this past year, because, you know, as much as I felt very isolated for a second in time, going through my own personal struggles, I saw a lot of people going through theirs too. And there was a moment, like, I started like having like a lot more open dialogue with like my coworkers and stuff. And it's like, it would be funny because I'm like at my job and we're all talking about like going to therapy and like just like very much commiserating on the things that are happening around us. And through that, it was like we actually were able to have like deeper conversations and like have stronger relationships. So yeah, there's like it's kind of about finding the good and the bad in that way. It's okay, Roche Court. Hopefully I'll play some more shows in the near future. Thank you. When I released Realize My Love, I already had the record pretty much wrapped. Yeah. So I did know that they were going to be a part of the record. Yes. Yes. Okay. I guess this is a listening party take 2. Okay, the next song is my collab with Pearly Drops. And, okay, wait a second. This was a really fun one to make. Yeah, this album was also just like allowing me to open myself up to the idea of collabing more. It's not something that's like super easy for me because my writing process can be so intimate at times and emotional, like I was saying. So it makes it kind of tricky to reach out to people, and like also just throwing ideas out there when it's not like fully formed is always a little nerve-wracking. But this album got me more comfortable with that. Yeah, so Pearly Drops and we kind of were in each other's DMs for a bit, and then they came to play their first show in New York like a year and a half ago, and so I went to see them there, and we hung out afterwards, and we just have like I found out we had a lot of common influences, and like they're really great. Like we get along super well. I just feel like we're very much on the same page creatively and sonically and all of it. So I was hoping that we would collab at some point. I wasn't gonna like force the thing, like the issue or anything, like if it didn't make sense, but I was getting close to the end of writing the record, and I felt like having a collab with them on the record would make a lot of sense. It would be very fitting. So I sent them an idea, and then they sent me an idea back, and yeah, and then I just got some vocals down, and that's like the gist of it. But lyrically, I feel like it was a nice collaborative. It was a perfect collaborative effort. Like I feel like Sandra actually wrote her lyrics first, and it was like a no notes situation, because I feel like they really captured the essence of like what the themes of the album were about, and like That cheekiness that I talk about. It's just like, it sounds like this cute little girl's night out, but it's like there's more depth to that, and it's kind of about like seeing the world, looking at the world around you, and nothing feels familiar anymore, and everything kind of feels dark and dystopian even, and like yet you're just going about life as usual. And it's like, oh, let's take a trip, even though nothing looks the same. And so yeah, I mean, that's the short and sweet gist of that one. We did not collaborate in person. So Pearly Drops live out in Helsinki in Finland, so that's another thing. Like it was a lot of emailing back and forth. Oh, it is of course anyone can like and enjoy the song, please. This is for the guys too. Like I said, the theme extends beyond the girls. I think it's more of a statement of humanity. And it's like finding your power in trying to reclaim some sense of normalcy in your life when there's no more normal. Yeah. I think we can all fucking relate to that one. Yeah, they're Finnish. Yes. They are Finnish. Perhaps the coolest Finnish people I know. Okay. We're getting close to the end of the record. This song, In Finding, is I thought to myself this was the interlude, but it's very funny because I was asking people what their favorite song on the record was today, and a lot of people said In Finding, so that's cool. Yeah, this one was just kind of a jam. I just jammed. I was tapping into kind of an orbital vibe, I would say. Not like I was consciously like, I'm going to make an orbital track, but I think it's like naturally always in the back of my head. I just love like the ambient breakbeat thing. I was using the intro to this to tease the record a lot. Yeah, I just wanted to make something kind of like establish a scene a bit, and help transfer the listener to the last two songs in the record, which have maybe a bit of a different energy to it. No lyrics on this one, just vibe. I don't really know what I could say about this one. Sometimes the song just needs to speak for itself. I'll turn it up. I need to rest my voice anyway. The only word you can really use for this is vibe. It's just vibe. There's some OB6 action on this one too. A little bass line. I had some of this already written actually a while before this Infinite as well. It was more just like that bass line. It hit in all the right spots, so I just kept going with it. It's definitely all good for skiing down hills. I grew up as a cross-country skier, so I think that's also inherent within me to make ski soundtracks. Oh yeah, you nailed that Aphex Twin reference for sure. I think I was probably channeling that a little bit, yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. I only kind of figure those things out after the fact. But yeah, I'm sure there's some Aphex Twin there. Okay. The last two songs on the record are kind of getting back a little bit to that electronic sound. Especially this next one. So End of Forever. This one's a really special one to me. This is another one that I wrote in like a day. And it was like right at the end. I think I kind of thought I had the record done, honestly. And then I had a show coming up. And sometimes when I have shows coming up, I start procrastinating. And so I ended up working on a new song when I was supposed to be practicing for my show. But then I ended up playing it at the show, so it all worked out. But yeah, I wrote this one. I was in a kind of a state of burnout a little bit. And yeah, I mean, still going through my feelings pretty strongly. Around this time, the next song, I'm going to get into that more, but like around this time, like there was a lot happening around me, just kind of like seeing my friends losing their jobs and like, yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of uncertainty. I don't really know if much of that has changed, to be honest with you, but just a lot of turmoil. And it's like I feel like a lot of times it's like when you're going through shit, at least like you can find one person around you who can be like the rock in the situation. But I kind of felt like no one was there to be a rock anymore. It was like everyone was just kind of like in this state of confusion and fear. And so I don't know. I think I was channeling a lot of that in the next two songs for sure. But I will say that beyond that, I feel like this album kind of has a storyline of like just where my emotional state was at. And like you can kind of see at the beginning, it feels a lot more, there's like this blissed out quality to it. I'm singing more about some aspects of like optimism and maybe even delusion to some degree, like in Bliss Beat, you know, talking about when I just kind of choose to dissociate and live in my own world. And so I feel like this song is a little bit of that come down from all of that. It's kind of like getting back to reality. But like not wanting to let go. And like, it's just like, there's like this confusion that you can hear in the lyrics. It's just like, you know, your sun burns forever. I don't want to see it end. And I think in certain ways I was also talking about the album itself, and like the process of writing this album was also very much a coping mechanism for me to like escape. And like this was my escape for an entire year. This was my way of getting out of some aspects of reality. Was the aspect of writing this record was that. And so for me, and finding was kind of like realizing that I was at the end of that whole process, and like I might not have this coping mechanism anymore for a while. And so there's a bit of that. There's a bit of like just, looking back kind of retrospectively at the past year and just certain struggles. But yeah, it's like kind of this state of confusion, like wanting things to last forever, but also having to accept that it's all going to end, and kind of flip-flopping between that feeling. Okay, I can play it. I'll just let the song speak for itself. I guess we can march to this one. If you come to my show, I'm gonna need a mosh starter. Yeah, that song's very special to me. This is like one of the first times I haven't cried while listening back to it. It's just very heavy emotions going through that time. Yeah. I feel like the song can kind of speak for itself in that way. But yeah, it's probably at this point, I keep changing, but that might be my favorite song on the record. I just think when I'm able to write something where there's really no inhibition, I'm just kind of like, it's just stream of consciousness, and I'm not like preventing myself from fully saying what I need to say. I think that's the stuff I always look back on and I'm more proud of. So Yes, that's probably one of my favorites. This next one, I also wrote this one. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to put it on the record, and then I decided to. But like I was saying, this next one, I was in a very similar mental state as what I was talking about before. This one's kind of about, a lot more so about seeing what my friends especially are going through around me. So like for more context, like at my job, there's like a bunch of layoffs, and a close friend of mine in particular got laid off, and like it was just like horrendous. Like it was unfair and didn't make sense, and I had to kind of watch her like stay strong through it. And it wasn't just that situation, but like kind of just that became a reflection of kind of like what's just happening in society right now. And nothing felt fair. It felt like, I mean, it's not like anything has changed, I should say. I shouldn't talk about this in past tense because this is very recent. And actually, if you listen to the lyrics, like I talk about the 8th of June, like that's when I was writing the lyrics. So it's very recent. And yeah, I'm just kind of, a lot of the lyrics are about like sort of finding a moment of power, knowing that you are powerless to these like higher systems, but just like having a moment where you can kind of pretend for a second that you have some control. And so I mean, it's like, it's a song about friendship and a song about like just trying to like, about finding your power together, and like, you know, whether that's through like shit talking or whether that's through like, you know, just like airing your grievances together, you know, just those moments where you can kind of like, you just letting it all out and like, yeah, just giving yourself a moment to like feel what you're feeling and do that together. And that gives you a sense of strength for a second, even though the world's kind of crashing in. So that's this song. And I guess like Something in the Air, like, yeah, it's just kind of like that feeling we're all feeling, like what's going on? Like the world is crazy. Everything's so crazy. And just sharing that experience together. So anyway, I'll play it. But I would say this is my most like lyrically driven song. I think I was just kind of getting the last of my words out because I knew this was going to be the last song on the record when I was writing the lyrics. So, yes. I'll turn it up. I'll make this more of a listening sesh for a second. What's up, Heaven Sample? Thank you, Nika. That's the end of the record. Yeah. That song still makes me emotional. I was trying not to cry last stream while playing it. Yeah. I think it's the last song I wrote, so the feelings are still kind of there, still potent. But yeah, that song means a lot to me. And I think it might pave the way for the next record a little bit too. Potentially the next vibe. I mean, it's hard to say for sure, but there's a lot of, I can tell you for certain, like the next record, because it's already in the works, like there's a lot more angst that seeps through the cracks. And I think like in many ways, like I'm starting to see that all three records, once this next record's going to be done, I think it's going to like speak more as like a trilogy. So I'm kind of looking forward to that because I feel like the next record will almost give this one more context. Because on a sonic level, I feel like this record's kind of, I classify this as like my country record. I don't see myself staying in this like indie pop lane very much. I wanted to try it out, and I wanted, I mean, I've spoken about this before, but like, it's not like I intentionally, really wanted to make an indie pop record. It kind of just, this is what kind of flowed out of me naturally. But I think that like with any emotion, when you suppress emotion, it's like, it's energy that you're kind of forcing down, and it's kind of like, you know, a bottle waiting to pop at some point. And I feel like the same can be true with our creative ideas. I think that you can just as easily suppress creativity as much as you can suppress your feelings. And in certain respects, I would say that the two things can be synonymous. And so I think that with this record, it kind of is showcasing suppressed creative ideas from my earlier years as a musician that never really got to see the light of day. It's just like, it's kind of showcasing a period of my life earlier on, when I was super influenced by indie rock, when that was kind of just my world. But I never really was able to have a voice. And so it's like years went on, and it's not like that ever just dissipated. I think that was always still somewhere there within me. And so I think with this record, it was just, you know, when you allow that stream of consciousness to flow, you're allowing a lot of these suppressed feelings and ideas to start flowing. And so in many ways, I do think that on a sonic level, this is sort of my younger self speaking through. And the next record, I would say, is more of my current self speaking through. So I would say maybe the next record, there's like a bit more like, I don't want to say depth to it, but there's a little bit more years, a little bit more of experience or something within it. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, this album was a full purging of everything. And it's, you know, I feel drained very much from this album campaign at this point, but when I was done with the record itself, I felt like it was a interesting feeling. Like I almost felt like I had gone through like a deep cry, or like, you know, or had a deep sigh. It was just like, it felt like I had really let some weight off of me. And I think there's something to be said about that. Like, I just think that, you know, it probably should always feel that way at the end of making your music. I think that's a good litmus test to be like, did I really say what I needed to say? And yeah, so despite what people might say online who don't have context for what this album means to me, really, I think, yeah, it's like I couldn't have done anything differently. Because like I said, these are just my journal entries. It's like, how can you fine tune that? How can you refine your journal entries? It's not what it's for. So that was my intention going into this one. Oh, and someone asked earlier about if I had a show. My release show is next week. Next Thursday. There is the flyer. It's at Elsewhere Zone 1. So if you're in the New York area, please come through. And FM Skyline, if you know FM Skyline, great MIDI wave artist, pioneer of MIDI wave, I should say. Yeah. He's the best. He opened for my album release show 2 years ago. So I was like, this is the perfect reunion. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, I'm playing a lot of the new stuff from the record. So, you know, it's funny that like release shows, you're playing a lot of new stuff. Like, we'll see how it goes, you know? And I have Heaven Sample, actually, who's in the chat, is going to be drumming with me. We had our first rehearsal last Sunday, and it went very well. So it's going to be fun. So come through. Oh, and thanks for saying that. Very sweet. Oh, Chris Burden says the records are almost sold out. That is insane. So if you haven't gotten a record yet, I would insist upon it before it sells out. I have one here you can take a look at. I'm going to take it out of this little plastic real quick. Look at that. I got the ring light reflection, sorry. It's very cool. The back looks super cool. I can't open it right now because it's in the plastic, but there's a poster inside. Unless this one's open, let's see. Oh wait, I can show you. Okay, so here's the album cover. Okay. Sorry. Here's a sleeve. And on the back of the sleeve, there are lyrics so you can sing along to my woes. Our shared woes, I should say. Okay, give me another second. I shouldn't be holding this like this, but I have no hands. Okay. Look at this beautiful vinyl. This is the B-side, actually. But look at that. So pretty. Okay. And then here's the A-side. Oh! You didn't see that. It's okay. I have carpet. Okay. A-side. I'm going to put this down before I do something terrible. And then there's a poster inside. Okay, give me another second. For your sci-fi pleasure, and then for your risque pleasure. You can choose. There we go. Don't miss out. What are you laughing at, Nicholas? Are you laughing at me dropping shit? Oh. I'm actually a klutz. If you actually want to know the real me, I'm kind of a klutz. I don't have a lot of spatial awareness at times. Yes. I think it's beautiful. And okay, I've been doing way too many shout outs. But I will do it again. Shout out to Chris Burden once again for helping. Not helping, but pretty much designing all of this, taking all the photos. Chris is very much the creative visual director for this album campaign. So the album cover was shot. Chris shot this with me out in California. We got a lot of the photos out there. We stayed a week in 29 Palms, and we drove around to some really scenic spots to get a lot of the imagery. And that's what you'll see with the album cover and the posters. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say for certain that I've claimed the windmill, but that's kind of mine now. That's kind of a Vitesse thing. Vitesse X thing now. Sorry. No, JK. Anytime you see a windmill, just tag me in it. I love windmill sightings. I've been spotting so many more now because I'm just like, I'm so in tune with it. Like, I'm just thinking about it all the time. I'm like, there's like a lot of these single turbines you can find just in random spots. A lot of them power like waste treatment plants and stuff. So they're around. Like there's a really cool one that's in South Brooklyn. That's kind of just like overlooking the skyline. That's really sick. And then like the Getting Girls music video that was shot at a wastewater treatment plant, or overlooking one in Atlantic City. And the way I found it was just by like driving on Google Maps Street View, and I found this like abandoned road, and we just shot the music video there, and it's so sick. But yeah, I think the windmill, I do have a very deep connection with it now. And you know, it goes way beyond this album campaign, because if you look back at like my vision boards from 2015, there are a bunch of photos of windmills in it. It was always in the back of my head to incorporate the windmill in a music project of mine. There's something so uniquely special about the symbolism of it to me. There's like a lot of layers there. I mean, I also just think that like the way that they look between day and night, it's just like the most polar extreme you can get. Like at night, it just has this incredibly dark dystopian energy when they have the red lights blinking, and like there's something super eerie about them. But like during the daytime, they have this beautiful, elegant, sort of like beautifully futuristic quality to it. So I think it was the last day actually that we were out at 29 Palms, and we had already thought we got the album cover at this other location. Actually the location that this photo was shot at. I'll show you once again, if I can open this with one hand. So we thought we shot the album cover here in this location, because in my head I was like, I want to get a shot with like the vastness behind me to like showcase infinity. And we had a different photo, which I haven't like shared with anyone yet, but I might. Maybe it'll be used for like a deluxe version or something. But then the last day we were in 29 Palms, I'm like, oh, there's like this huge turbine farm. Let's just drive out there and like see if we can get some stuff. But like no pressure, because we already got the album cover. And then sure enough, we like went out there, and in 30 minutes, we just shot some stuff on our Black Magic video camera, and then shot some photos, and we didn't think much of it. And then like months down the road, we realized that like this was actually the cover. And then we used that brief footage we got. We just compiled that to be the music video for Careless. So all of that was done just by being out there for like 30 minutes. It's funny how that works. So often when I do photo shoots and stuff, it's always like the last minute. Same with the Us Ephemeral music video too. That was like a race against the clock. We got up there in the mountains so late. We only had like an hour or two of daylight left, and we shot a full music video up there. It seems to happen like that nearly every time. The mountains there, I don't know the name. There was a trail that I found on like my trail app. It's not really like a mountain range. It's just like a rock formation. So I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I'll try to look into it. It's definitely in the middle of nowhere. There was no one around for an entire week straight when we were out there. Yeah, I'm also just like, That's another thing about going on tour that would be really cool, is to like just stop through the turbine farms on my way on tour. Basically just do a full tour of the turbine farms across the US. And there's some cool ones in upstate New York too that I've been hoping to go to, but it's a little bit out of the way. Climb one for a music video. I don't know about that, but we really want to fly some drones around some turbines. So I'll get back to you on that. We might get some drone footage. But yeah, I mean, what more can I say? This was probably the most ambitious creative pursuit I've ever done. 'Cause it was written in such a short period of time. But it just had to happen that way. I think, I just needed to really get some things out of my system. So, yeah, I mean, this year was really insane. It was just full tunnel vision, just trying to get my voice out there and make some beautiful music and translate that into the imagery and to the music videos and do it all between me and Chris. It was just, it was essentially just the two of us. I mean, as far as the music goes, it was me and Pearly Drops and Wild Nothing, and then George Albright mixed two of the songs, and then my guy Abe Seaforth was the mixing engineer for this, and he's a legend. So definitely some more hands on deck for the music side of things, but then everything outside of that was just Chris and I, on top of running our label that we have now. So not for the faint of heart, I will say, but this means everything to us. So it felt like we needed to put it all in our hands to do it right and to get sort of the message out. And I'm just very happy that like it's finally there. Like it's finally out in the world. And yeah, it feels like a relief in many ways to have it just kind of done. I think it was nice that I didn't have to sit on my music for too long. Some people have to sit on their albums for years even. So I'm very fortunate in that respect. I could composite myself on top of one. Maybe we'll try something out. Yeah. Oh yeah. I use Blackmagic cameras at my job too. They're the industry standard. But yeah, it's a learning curve, learning how to do all of the coloring for all this stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to shoot for, less is more the next time around. For me, I'm going to like slow the pace a little bit and be a little bit more meticulous with like my production process this time around. 'Cause, I think with every record, I'm just trying out a different workflow. And so this record is all about just like stream of consciousness. And the thing is, I'm going to take a lot of that and apply it. I think now what I've learned is like, I want a bit of both. Like I want to like give myself time to have that stream of consciousness songwriting process, and then take a little bit more time with the other end of things, with the fine tuning, and have that a little bit more of a duality with that. Do I ever feel sad after completing a project? Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I think for a lot of artists, there's like a post-release depression. Same as, I don't know who's been on tour in the chat, but like post-tour depression is a real thing too. I would say some of that comes from like your dopamine receptors being completely fried. Like that's definitely a thing, because when you're putting out your music and you're getting all this response and like, you know, there's a lot of excitement and there's a lot of anticipation. It's like dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. And so once it's out and it's like, I think the lack of anticipation actually can make you kind of crash, like a caffeine crash or something. I think that's actually more of what it is. Because at the same time that I'm feeling a little bit of a crash, I'm feeling like a sense of calm, a sense of relief. And, like I have so much other music that's been sitting around. So I actually have something to look forward to again. So I think that's a really important thing to have, is like always understanding that your creativity is in abundance is a really important thing to remember, because I think it's important not to treat any of your music or just art in general, anything that you make. I think it's important to not be too precious about it. I think it's really important to have a sense of like non-attachment with it. I think while you're writing it, it should be the most important thing in the world. But then the second it's done, it's like you have to fully let go. And so in that way, it's a very therapeutic exercise. It's like training your brain to kind of have that on and off switch, to be like, this is super meaningful, important to me. Now I must let it go. Now I must let it be free. Which is hard. It's not easy. Not easy. But as long as you know that, like, again, creativity is abundant to you. It always is there for you. It always exists. There's always more music to write. There's always new ways to express yourself. So that can help with the crash. That can definitely help. Yeah, post-tour depression's real. My last one, I would say my last post-tour depression was maybe like after the tour I went on with Beach Fossils, because I did sound for them in 2020, and it was probably the most fun I've ever had. It was just like basically having all of your favorite people in one place, and you're just like traveling the country and like just having fun. And getting paid to have fun, pretty much. So then when you have to go home, yeah, that's a slap back to reality. And also it was in, like I said, 2020. So it was right before lockdown hit and everything. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Nikki. I appreciate that. What more to say? Please ask any last questions, because I won't stay on here much longer. We are nearing the 2-hour mark. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a million more things I could talk about. But yeah, this album was, I was just in my studio all day long. Well, when I wasn't at work, just grinding away, making music. It was very isolating, I will say. I probably sacrificed a lot of time with friends and family this year. So that's another thing about being done. I'm like, okay, I'm excited to get out of hermit mode for a second. Chris says shirts. Okay, I have some shirts that are for sale too. It's a logo shirt. If you want to rep the Vitesse X logo. Chris, are they on the website? Is that what's going on? Maybe you could give a little bit more insight, because I'm not the best salesperson. But they look very nice up close. Yeah, so we have shirts. Oh, and I didn't even show you. Here's an important thing. Not only do I have vinyl, which is almost sold out, but there's also CDs. I didn't bring the CDs down, but mini discs. This is my favorite thing. This is my favorite physical object I've ever made. They look really cool. This side is especially my favorite. Yeah. I've been wanting to get mini discs for a long time. So we finally did it. They look super cool. Even if you don't have a mini disc player, I think they're a cool collector's item. And then here are the cassettes. Very cute. Yes. The CDs look very cool too. I just don't have them down here. Yep. Oh, yeah. First Unitarian Church. Yes. Beach Fossils did play. Yeah. That was really fun. Oh, they played, what is the song? Show Me the Bodies? Is that what the song's called? They played that, and there was like a fucking insane mosh pit. It was super fun. There's always mosh pits for the Beach Fossil shows. And I love it because like their music maybe isn't expectedly moshable, but the second you go out to their shows, that's just the only way people can move to their music. And I played at First Unitarian Church on the first Vitesse tour as well. I really love that spot. Yeah, it's like the best DIY venue, if you can even call it that, because it's so legit at the same time. Like pretty established acts play there. Las Vegas. Did I play Las Vegas? No, I don't think so. No, I didn't play Las Vegas. I did not. I've been to Las Vegas. Are you from Las Vegas? My friend is from Las Vegas. I just don't want to say anything mean about it, but I have my opinions. You were at that show? You were at the Beach Fossil show? Shit, I was running sound. See? Our paths have crossed so often. Yeah. Yeah, the first Vitesse X tour is kind of insane. Like, oh, cool. Okay, sorry. There's like all these comments. I'm getting scatterbrained. Yeah, the first Vitesse X tour, which is really the only Vitesse X tour that's ever happened, was before my album came out, before my first album came out, in 2021, October 2021. And that was, Mag Bay was on the bill for that one. And it was like right before, or like as they were blowing up. 'Cause it was like, Mercurial World was just coming out, I believe. So like they're in the van getting all these like crazy accolades and stuff. And it was one of their first shows. They had played one of their first shows fairly recently as well, which I saw in New York. And yeah, they were just kind of figuring out what they needed really, and figuring out the right microphone to use and all that. So it's like wild to see where they're at now. But yeah, that was my first tour. I played my first show a couple days before we left for tour. Yeah, that was pretty insane. And I was running sound for that tour as well. So that was wild. Oh, Sphere. Yeah, I would play a Sphere. You're supposed to say Sphere. Apparently they're like really, they don't like you adding the before Sphere. You have to say Sphere, not the Sphere. But yeah, I would love to play Sphere at some point. We'll make it happen. What else would you like to know about the record? I've said a lot. Um, yeah, I think at this point, I would love for you to, just listen and like have your own experience with it. 'Cause like I said, it's not really mine anymore. It's very much yours now. I would play Las Vegas as much as like, I have like it's a love-hate thing. I don't love like the city of Las Vegas. It's not my thing. But I did go hike some trails outside of Vegas that were beautiful. I think it was like the Ring of Fire, I think it was called. This is a very long time ago, but it's very beautiful. I should do a giveaway. Okay. What does that require? How do I do a giveaway? I don't know how these things work. I'm just waiting. But yeah, I made a post on my Instagram earlier today asking people what their favorite song was. And it's very interesting. Like there's not really a concrete answer, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like for a lot of albums there's just like that one track that seems to resonate most with people, but it's very cool to see like that it's just kind of a different experience for everyone so far. Although there were a lot of people saying In Finding, which is kind of interesting because I kind of referred to that as my interlude song. Oh, well, how does one win this record that I could potentially give away? That's the thing. I don't know what the rules for the giveaway are. That's what I need some guidance on. Give me some help. Damn. I've said a lot though. I am really excited for this album release show. And then I'm gonna like chill for a second. I have a plan of maybe working on some, I really just want to get back to electronic music for a little bit. Maybe work on some like dance tracks and stuff. I like getting to the point where I kind of make myself sick. Just like where I'm just like, ugh, I can't do this sound anymore. I got to do something different. I like to just like hit my threshold and then pivot. So that's where I'm at now. I'm ready to do something fresh. So you'll probably see that, or who knows, maybe another dream pop song will emerge. Can't ever fully control the process. But it's been great to hear all the kind words so far. And yeah, it means a lot to me. So thank you. And I guess I should go unless Chris wants to. Okay. No. Okay. I'm just waiting for him to tell me the rules for the giveaway because I would like to do it. Oh, comment where? In the live chat? Comment your favorite song on the full album visualizer. Okay. So I'll make this point clear. We're going to be dropping a full album visualizer of the record, I believe tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. I believe tomorrow. So once that's out, then you can comment your favorite song on the full album visualizer and have a chance at winning a record. Signed? I would say signed. A signed record. Why not? I'll sign it. and I'll announce it on the next stream. There we go. So I'll let you guys know. Maybe I'll post on like my socials and stuff, but if you haven't joined my Discord, it's a good way of kind of just having a direct line of communication, so I can just like make sure you're all in the loop. A singed record. I'll give you a singed record. Let's see if I can do this here. Invite. Copy link. Okay, I'm gonna share. Potentially. Yes. Here's a link to my Discord, so I can keep you in the loop if you want to know about this giveaway. It'll also be a special edition. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, join my Discord. There's lots of things happening in there. I mostly post photos of my dog, to be honest with you, but cool. I see you guys in there. I see you guys. Oh, hey, Space Cowboy. Thank you. I love that you love Bliss Beat. Thank you. Yeah. See, it's a everyone has their own song they like, and I love that. Yes. Okay. Well, I think I might call it because it is officially 2 hours, and I need to walk my dog. I do a 4-mile walk with him every night, so we're gonna do that in a second. And yay, yeah. As long as you're in my Discord, you can just I have like a spot where you can ask me questions and stuff, and you can stay up to date with everything. And I don't know, stay tuned. Come to my show next week. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a party. It's just gonna be a celebration. And I'll be doing more chats. I think now that I'm not working my record or this campaign, I'll maybe be coming up with some new ideas for these streams besides rambling. Yes, Fred. Oh, I'm sorry, Fred. I'm just about to sign off. But Fred, thank you for all your nice words. I see your comments. It means a lot. Stream's archived if you want to go back to it. And okay, that's about it. Have a good night, and hopefully see you next week at the show.